Hello viewers, Sylvester Dixon Baguma is my name. I'm the Executive Director of ASARECA. ASARECA is Association for Strengthening Agricultural Research in East and Central Africa. And we take care of 15 countries, and those 8 countries are here during this workshop on building capacity to respond to new and emerging diseases and pests of banana.
So basically, what does it entail currently? I know the issue of cross-border is usually an issue. Maybe as ASARECA and bringing them together, what do you want to get from here, from the meeting, from the 8 countries?
What we want to get from the 8 countries is working together, coming up with a framework of how we can work together to tame these diseases, the emerging diseases and pests. We may call everything a pest anyway, because they also causing us annoyance. Yeah, so the diseases don't have boundaries, and we as ASARECA, we are spreading across the 15 countries, and we are starting with the East African countries. All right, so we want to make sure that the knowledge, the technologies and innovations that have been identified, that have been generated in addressing the various diseases that we have that have been mentioned, we can be able to disseminate them, yeah, from one country to another. So they are applied, because the problem is common across countries. So we don't want to reinvent a wheel. No. Where we find that we do not have adequate capacity in a certain country, we pick it from another country. We look for expertise from there to come and do the work. Where some knowledge or technology have been generated in another country, we get it and see how to repackage that and move it forward. For example, simple messages like what we have just finished when you are doing more of these interviews. To manage the banana bacterial wilt, you need to cut the male bud, and when you are pruning, you don't prune the fresh leaves, you just prune the dry leaves. And Professor Arthur Tugume has managed to control that in his 5-acre plantation for many years without seeing any disease, and yet the neighbors around have the disease. Such simple messages, and we package that very well, and we're able to disseminate.
The biggest problem with pest management is because of the not having the proper planting materials. What can you say about the planting materials?
Indeed, most of the diseases go through the planting materials, and clean and healthy planting materials. The planting materials are also like seed. If I have HIV/AIDS, you never know, my seeds could be carrying that virus. And so if I plant it in a lady, you'll get a diseased offspring. Oh yeah, which might not last for long. And therefore, the diseased planting materials are a source of this inoculum, and that's why the disease begins to spread. So as scientists, we want to be developing one, the resistant materials, but also encouraging farmers to use disease-free planting materials, especially from tissue culture, because those are picked from meristems and then multiplied in a tissue culture lab, so that they go out when they are very clean. And that's what we encourage. But sometimes our farmers, they want, I think those are not farmers, they are diggers. But the real farmers will have to go and buy seedling. Even if they are expensive, you know, you're buying something that is good, which is not going to succumb to diseases. And therefore I would encourage everyone to look for clean planting materials from research institutes, from development partners that are multiplying these planting materials, so that they avoid the problem of 100% loss.
So our policy is 100% when it comes to issues of maybe banana plantation, policies around the issue of pests.
The policies need to be reviewed. In some countries, there are no policies. Yeah, in some countries there are no enabling policies. In other countries, in fact, the policies are prohibitive. If we have clean materials in Uganda, for God's sake, why not move them to Kenya with material transfer agreement, which were developed long ago, and yet we are not following them? If I see you moving materials from Uganda, I may arrest you. And then you say, where are those material transfer agreements that we made long ago? And so, to me, I think we need to review some of these policies. We allow free trade movement of planting materials, of seed, of people themselves, so that we address these problems, because they affect all of us. When it's in Kenya, it's in Uganda. When it's in Tanzania, it's in Burundi. And so we don't want these things to spread, because for these diseases, they don't require a visa. They don't require a visa. Just move with the people, or even with the tools.
So after the 5-day meeting, what way forward do you want to come out of the meeting, especially for the member countries?
After these 5 days here, what I want to see is that we have developed a framework of addressing this problem. And that framework may include an element of policy. An element of policy. That, I think, should be one of them. So we're going to come up with different aspects of how to address the emerging and new diseases and pests of banana. But how do we address them? The policy could be one of them. Of course, we shall look at improving capacity of the stakeholders, also the scientists themselves. And as a SARECA, it's our responsibility. One, we have also the program on policy management, so where we will have to get all these policies and try to review them and see how they are applicable, but also to develop capacity of the various people. And also another component of ASARECA is sharing or communication and information management, whereby whatever is known, wherever it is, we pick it and make sure that it's known. Good.
Daktari, share with us, I have listened to the remarks by the various representatives from the various countries. How deep are the pests and the diseases in the region? Are they a big threat to the banana farming?
It's a question, I think, which deserves a very obvious answer. Yes, it's a big threat, because we have seen we can get 100% loss. 100% loss. Now, what is more serious than that? If you get 100% loss, even 70, even 50% loss of your plantation, you have lost. And these are spreading. There's no border for them. They are just spreading, even with the tools. And some of them, because people do not know, because you use a panga, you cut here, you're going to cut there, you're going to cut there. In the process, you are taking these diseases, you are spreading them across. So it's a very serious problem, and we need to approach it very fast. If it wasn't a serious problem, we wouldn't be wasting time here and money. Time is a big resource. Maybe the physical money we could leave it, but time of being here 5 days, I don't know how much of capital we have tied here together for 5 days. It's a very serious disease.
What is the share of the legion in the global market?
In terms of
the exports.
I don't.
In terms of banana production and vis-a-vis also the value.
The statistics are there if you look for them. I don't have them off cuff, but the truth is we command a big production in the region. And if it's a region, maybe use Africa, for example, Tanzania, Uganda, they are very high up there. Madagascar, very high up there in production of bananas, and even consumption of bananas, because we do not have enough. We never import. We consume what we produce, but the exporting is even very little for those people who want bananas. If it were possible, we wouldn't even export. So the statistics are there. If we look for them, you'll find that we are producing quite a lot, at least in the whole country, rather in the whole world. Africa is producing a lot, but specifically Tanzania, Uganda, and I think Madagascar as well.
How are we faring in terms of the little that we are able to salvage due to the pest and diseases? How are we able to manage them, especially in terms of value addition, so that we can get premium prices?
First and that is a two-pronged question. First and foremost, what we have salvaged, we need to maintain very well for prosperity, so that we bring new plantlets in the market for farmers to access. And then if farmers plant these disease-free planting materials, they'll be able to produce more and more and more than what they can consume. And therefore, we can add value to what is not consumed in terms of different products. We can get banana powder, If there's a lot of production, instead of leaving it to rot or maybe have a very low price, we make banana powder, which we can use later on. You just boil water, you put the powder there, and then you have your matoke ready to eat. Yeah, some of them we can put them in vacuum containers, and they can stay on the shelf for very many months. We can make other products like wines. We can make wines. We can make spirits. We can make hair looking like human hair. We go and buy these hairs from outside there for people who died long ago, but we can make good hair close to human hair from banana fibers. Yeah, so we can make a lot of products. Some of them can be medicinal products. Yeah, others, of course, yeah, even just for beauty, like I've said, hair. And there's a lot of starch in the combs, a lot of starch that can be extracted and used instead of competing with starch from cassava.